Let me at him!
Well, there it is. Hello and welcome to a Warcraft free shoutcast on a 1 vs 1 game played on Turtle Rock between DkHWarchiefRich and InquisitiveHawK. This is a Night Elf versus human game that we will be watching today, and I shall be casting it. So let's have a little look at DkHWarchiefRich. He's placing down his Ancient of War here at the lower part of the map, close to the sea turtle hatchlings. And there is more wisps to come for that gold mine. So we're looking probably at a Demon Hunter startup, as you would imagine. He's the first typical hero for Night Elf players. An archer to come from the Ancient of War, and then a bit of creeping for the turtle hatchlings with the Ancient of War. Meanwhile, in InquisitiveHawK space, we have a blocked off area over here, and that's a lovely use of militia there to speed boost that peasant, getting that farm down just a little bit quicker. We're going to see what hero we're going to be seeing from InquisitiveHawK in a moment. Looks like it's going to be, oh yes, it's going to be an Archmage. And that little peasant is going to turn into a militia and go off and scout, because he wants to know whether his opponent is close to him. Meanwhile, we can see DkHWarchiefRich is also doing the same with a wisp relatively around the same time. So you're looking at about 12-ish on that game clock. So he knows that he's somewhat safe. Mr. Human Player InquisitiveHawK. You do not particularly want an opponent right next to you, unless they're Night Elf. And then maybe you do, because a lot of human players love to tower rush in the higher levels of play. Even at the higher levels of play, tower rush is a very solid strategy, and this is a map where you are very close to your opponent if they are next to you. If they are far away, then it's actually a relatively moderate distance, and it's quite average for most 1 vs 1 maps. We can see here, this is some nice micro here from the Ancient of War. He's moving back and forth, trying to get ever closer to that tree, getting hits in between. This means that he's doing maximum DPS whilst trying to achieve tree heal ability. And we see the Demon Hunter has got his item, he's good to go. The Archer's just going to finish off the rest of the turtle hatchlings, whilst the Demon Hunter is making his way to where his opponent is. And he did scout with the Wisp, and the Wisp sees that the human player, InquisitiveHawK, is trying to creep, and he's going to possibly lose a militia here. No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not. The militia is moving back, and the Archmage picks up a Gloves of Haste, which can be quite handy if he wants to get a lot of cheeky hits in. The Demon Hunter is going to chase down this militia, who's about to turn into a peasant soon, but will he make it back into the base and get behind that farm in time? Oh, yes, he will. Demon Hunter now having to pull back, and he's going to try to pick off enemy peasants as they return back to base. More footmen coming out for InquisitiveHawK here, and the Demon Hunter looking around, and it looks like InquisitiveHawK is like, you know what, you can have that. I'm going to go off and continue creeping, which is the right thing to do. You don't want to hang around and get mana burnt by a Demon Hunter. Meanwhile, we can see WarcraftRich has moved onto a Hunter's Hall, a second Moonwell, and there's no more archers coming out thus yet, but there is a Tree of Ages being researched, so an upgrade for the main tree, and it looks like InquisitiveHawK might want to back off here. The Demon Hunter coming in for the chase. He's going to go on the Footman. That is the weakest currently at the moment. Got to use those. Oh, the Archmage. You can see him. He's like, oh, I might go for that Archmage now. Choices, choices. Looks like more footmen are going to be getting a little bit beaten up here. InquisitiveHawK might want to purchase himself one of those shops, but he's going straight into the Night Elf base. He's like, well, if you're going to chase me, we're going to chase me back into your base, and I'm going to see what damage I can do. He's probably looking for a building like a Moonwell that was currently being produced, but isn't currently at the moment, so he can't pick on that, but he can pick on Wisps, and it looks like WarcraftRich is going to have to bring out the micro and try and save some of those Wisps, transferring the weak ones into the gold mine whilst taking out the healthy ones. That way he can save the Wisps that are being picked on and buy himself as much time as possible whilst he's having to deal with this harass. And this is good harass. He's losing units here, InquisitiveHawK. He's in a bit of pickle, but it is causing WarcraftRich some Wisp losses right now. And there might be another one to go, and it's a lot of hard work here. Oh, that's a lovely move there. The Demon Hunter is blocked off there. The Footman is able to escape here. So there's only one Footman down, I believe, currently at the moment, InquisitiveHawK. Now being able to do quite a bit of nice damage, but it looks like WarcraftRich might be trying to get the block on the Archmage. The Archmage uses Cloak of Shadows, which is a nice little item that he picked up there. It's going to make it a real pain in the arse for WarcraftRich to try and pick off that Archmage eventually if he just wants to sit in the base for the entirety of the time. And he might be able to escape here, but I don't know. It looks like he's going to try it. It does look like he's going to be able to get away, which is very unfortunate for WarcraftRich. He's got another Moonwell on the way. Meanwhile, this is going down. The footmen are still just going on the Moonwell. They're not even bothering to run away. Now they are, but it's a little bit too late for that one. And trying to get on the Wisp there, just trying to run away. Whilst the Huntresses are building up, the tech is almost complete for WarcraftRich. Also, a tech is almost complete for Hawk, so he must have started teching at relatively the same time. Arcane Vault being produced, more farms. Riflemen are now being made after the Blacksmith has been created. So this means that the Riflemen are going to be very handy for countering those nasty Huntresses, because they have unarmored armor. That's kind of funny. Unarmored armor. Yes, you heard it here. And they take extra damage from piercing, which is, funnily enough, what rifles do. So there's a majority of Huntresses at the moment. Looks like a second hero might be getting picked up by WarcraftRich. Not necessarily. He has got his tech complete, but he's getting an Ancient of Lore, and I can't see what his resources are because I'm currently focused on the... might need a mod or something like that to help me do that. If there's anyone that knows of any mods that could allow me to see what the resources are of the players whilst viewing the perspective of an observer, if I switch to WarcraftRich, I would actually have to take off Fog of War, and a lot of people don't like it when I do that, when I've done these replays before. But that's the only way I could see both players, and then even only then I could see DkHWarchiefRich's things. I could, as an observer's point of view, switch back to one of their bases and look at the resources very quickly. It's a little annoying game camera wise, so let me know how you feel about this, because this is shoutcast that I'm performing for you right now. It's a short and sweet one, and it's essentially just to get an idea on what you think, what you're after from your shoutcast, and I'm going to go into more detail with that once this video is over. But for now, I'm after something like that I could just find a quick and easy way to find out what their resources are without having to go back to their bases and click on a building every time. But if it comes down to that, then that's what I shall do. Anyway, back to the game. We can see that WarcraftRich is now being spotted by InquisitiveHawK. He's moving in here with the Archmage and the Water Elemental, trying to secure this little creep camp, because it's a very nice creep camp to get, because the Ogre Magi will drop a sentry ward, and it's like a permanent sentry ward, so you can't get rid of it even when you can see it. It's invulnerable, so whoever gets that is going to have basically permanent vision of this area of the map wherever the Ogre Magi dies. And WarcraftRich is trying to move in here. He's got the Naga Sea Witch, and I really want to call her Naga Sea Bitch. I'm trying to keep it a bit more professional for these replays. And she's trying to get an opportunity in to slow down units and pick them off alongside the Night Elf army, but InquisitiveHawK is doing the right thing, which is basically focusing her, which means that it makes it a lot harder for WarcraftRich to actually pick off any units here, whereas if he was actually focusing on, say, Huntresses and such, he probably would have lost that rifle earlier. But he definitely still needs to get out of the situation, because it's not very nice to be chased down with this army right now, especially with the Dryad in the mix. That's slightly extra slow on top of the Naga Sea, which is frost arrows. That just kind of seals the deal. That rifleman does not particularly want to be tanking, I can tell you that for sure. A couple of militia here, just like, oh yeah, maybe more than a couple here. They were coming in to defend versus an aggressive attack, potentially from WarcraftRich, who has 2 Ancients of Lore. He's getting Abolish Magic for his Dryads, and he's researching Druid of the Claw up Adept training. So we're going to see some bears soon, and there's going to be that time and attack, because I'm sure that as soon as he's got those bears up and running, particularly Master Bears, he's going to want to try to finish the game, because you got to capitalize on it. That's when you are at your strongest and your opponent is still yet to build up. Once you've got those bears, you've got to go for it, because that's your end game unit. Unless you're going for shims, which I almost never see in 1 versus 1. That's your end game unit right there, so you've got to make the most of it. We've got InquisitiveHawK producing more rifles, spell breakers, he's got priests, he's got a good mixed army, and he's actually got a Sork as well for some annoying slow, which is really nice. I like that. Doesn't need many Sorks, he just needs one. Just throw in 1 Sork into the mix, and that will help use up the Dryad's Abolish Magic as well, because Sork is a very easily spammable ability, especially when you have Brilliance Aura supporting it. Looks like towers might be getting built in a moment, because there's a lot of militia converting into peasants. They're going to actually help block here a little bit, whilst the Water Elementals and Rifles can attack from range. WarcraftRich in a really horrible spot here. His bears are still in adept mode, so he's going to be using those, I bet, to try and keep the Demon Hunter alive. Perhaps the bear having to soak up the Moonwell there, because there's so much damage taken. That's a lovely use of staff preservation there. We can see that a couple of units might be getting picked up by InquisitiveHawk, but he's still got an easy time picking off these bears whilst they are not in Master Claw form. And the Demon Hunter is going quite heavily on the Naga Sea Witch. She's having to pull back, but slows and making it really difficult for WarcraftRich to do much here. It looks like these bears are desperately coming in to try to do something, but unfortunately they're just not in Master form yet. And there isn't a Master form being upgraded from what I can tell. It looks like the Naga Sea Witch is still going to stay alive and now sit herself down, focusing on that Demon Hunter whilst he's trying to pick off the Archmage who's running away. So close. Both of these heroes on so minimal health, but unfortunately the Archmage has enough space to turn around and finish off the Demon Hunter before he can get the last hit. Oh! WarcraftRich throwing down a Fort Lightning, sealing a deal on that Archmage. But there is another Naga Sea Witch for the enemy player, which is InquisitiveHawk. He's going to be chasing down WarcraftRich, and now WarcraftRich is turning around. But there is a whole army backing up this Naga Sea Witch, who's probably going to be picking up the hero once again. Any moment, you're going to see the Archmage come out. This is where I need to see what the resources are like without having to click off. There we go, InquisitiveHawk. I suppose I could do that. Just click there and then back onto that. That's one way to do it. And there we go. He's got the resources. He's doing very well. He's got lots of rifles, breakers. He's got a couple of casters just to help him out and support. The bears are now finally master, but is it going to be enough? There's currently only 2 bears with 1 more on the way. Demon Hunter is only halfway through this Altar of Elders. Wisps are going to be needed to pulled off to be able to repair that Altar of Elders, because that Demon Hunter won't come out unless that is repaired, that Altar of Elders. And that means that, unfortunately, InquisitiveHawk might have a Fort Lightning, as I suspected. He had a Fort Lightning, and he's just going to be putting some pressure on those Wisps whilst they're trying to repair and keep that Demon Hunter able to come out. So we can see that the bears are just having to back off here, because slow just gives them such a hard time. There's no Dryads to now abolish the magic. Slow, just that one caster makes such a difference. That one sorceress, I really like that touch. Just one. Don't need a whole load, just one. And it has such a large impact on the game. Raw being used. I don't think we got priests with adept training, so we're not going to see any dispel, but it's not that worrisome because, to be honest, raw is okay, but it's not that amazing on only a few amount of units. And unfortunately these bears are in such a rough spot. There's just not enough of them, and WarcraftRich unable to get his Demon Hunter out, and with not enough units will not be able to take the victory there. The victory goes to InquisitiveHawk. Very well played there. A nice short and sweet game between Night Elf and Human on Turtle Rock. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. I will take this opportunity to say that I would like to make more of a habit of doing these shoutcasts, and I'd like your help to some degree. If you could perhaps link me to replay sites. I know of a couple, replayers.com or, you know, Warcraft Free Replays.net, I think, and I quite like that website. And really, what's the process that I would need to go to be able to get the latest, best replays and be able to cast them on a constant basis is what I'm after here. I'm looking for essentially the tournament games. Now I know Warcraft 3 is quite old now, and unfortunately there's less support for it in the tournament scene than there was before, but I still believe there are probably tournament games being played. And if that's the case, how do I find those replays? And is it easy enough to do? Because I don't want to go through a hell of a lot of hard work just trying to get, you know, a whole series of replays, because it can be quite a lot of effort. Because a lot of the time I have an issue with the Warcraft free replays is that when you download them, you go to watch them, and of course it doesn't work because you don't have that map type, or you don't have the supporting software to play that map, and etc, etc. It goes on. So basically what I'm after is a replay site and a reliable way or method in finding the tournament games and being able to download them and make sure I can get all of them, because it's kind of defeats the objective of if I can only get 2 games out of 3 games where it was a best of 3, for example. I'm probably looking to cast like more of the kind of semi-final to or quarter-final, semi-final and final games of tournaments in general, and I'll see how it goes. If you've got any feedback you'd like to give, then please do so in the comments section below. I'd appreciate it on how I casted and what you would like to see differently, or what you liked, what you didn't like, and that would be very helpful. Otherwise, please like the video, thumbs it up, share it with your friends, and you can always catch me on my YouTube channel for Warcraft free, which is youtube.com/WTiiWarcraft, WTii Warcraft. Or you can catch me at my stream, which I'm regularly on the weekends at least, which is twitch.tv/Witty, WTii. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you later.